Is the sound working now? Oh, okay, there we go. Sorry for all of that, folks. Oh, yeah, my apologies. I don't know what happened with the sound issue. So we're currently mixing, and when I mean me, the KitchenAid is mixing. If the KitchenAid is mixing the dough, you guys are in for a treat because I have never made this kind of recipe before. So, yeah, I'm making bread for the actual bread for the first time, and so we're gonna see together how this goes. Uh, no idea what I'm doing. I don't even know how long. I mean, it says 8 to 10 minutes for mixing. I don't know what that means, other than I'm supposed to be looking for something very particular, and it's very strange. But yeah. But while it's doing its thing, I guess I'm looking for it to how do they describe it? Combine flour, yeast, salt, sugar, honey, and milk. Place dough in a lightly oiled bowl. Eight to 10 minutes until smooth and elastic. What's elastic mean for dough? Like the the baking half of this duo that is this household is off camera telling me I'm supposed to wait till it springs back. Well, how do I?
Well, when you touch it, it kind of will like spring back.
She's giving me directions off camera. She was supposed to be working today, but her boss let her go home early because it's Christmas Eve, I guess. I don't know. And it's a good thing she's here because I have no idea what I'm doing.
It'll spring back to your touch. It'll be like when you spring back and touch your skin, the elasticity in your skin, it'll be like that.
See, that's why she's a baker and I'm not. I've never used baker's yeast before either, so what do I know? Yeah, all that stuff I got stuff because she's like she is a phenomenal baker, and I think, well, I don't know, before I had to restart the stream, I showed you guys this cheesecake that she made last night. But here you can see it again. That is a raspberry swirled cheesecake, homemade. It is the best cheesecake you will ever have. It's enough to make me break diet during Christmas week. So, there's that. But she's making another one for tomorrow, and that's like a coconut cream Oreo crust cheesecake. It's like, I don't know, it sounds good, but I don't like coconut. It, yeah, oh, it is a beautiful cheesecake, Mercedes. She does a great job. She's so good at it that she's making, for a Christmas party, um, she's making some New York style cheesecakes for, well, so she's switching employers. Her employer is moving to a new city and starting a new bistro, coffee, or kind of a wine and cocktail bistro and bakery. And that's about 20 miles away, and it's just not feasible. So she's going to be working for a new coffee place that's coming to our town. And the business owners there have not contracted, but they're catering a Christmas party, and they went straight to her. They're like, "Hey, we need you to make these cheesecakes." So she's gonna be making cheesecakes this weekend for this Christmas party that's coming after Christmas. Can we still call it a Christmas party if it's after Christmas? I don't know. You tell me. Should I do it as a poll? Is it a Christmas party if it's after Christmas? Yeah, I'll do it as a start a poll. Can you call it? There we go. So there we go. Let's see. But, you know, it's really weird when the poll's up on the screen because I can't see my face. But that's, I mean, who wants to see me anyway? But anywho, let's see how this is going. Boy, this is going to take a lot longer than 8 to 10 minutes. It's a after Christmas party. Yeah, I agree 100%. Martin Banks says, yeah, there are 12 days to Christmas. Christmas Day to January 6th, which is the Epiphany of the Lord. I like that. It's a good point. Is it normal for it to take longer to get to what you're wanting it to be than what the directions say? Because I feel like a retard in here right now. You didn't tell me that baking's this hard. I can't. It doesn't. I'm not going to turn it off. It might screw it up. But she doesn't like to be on camera, so I'm going to point you guys at my counter over there.
So what's it supposed to be?
It's supposed to like not stick to the sides of the.
Okay, you don't. You need more flour.
I did 3 3/4 cups.
No.
That's what they told me to put in there.
Okay, but that's nowhere near what you need.
So do I gotta just keep adding more? Or do I have to start over? Don't tell me I have to start over, because if I have to start over, I'm just going straight to the damn soup.
Let me see the recipe. Okay, 3 3/4 cups flour. 1 and 1. Are you sure that's enough water or too much water?
It says 1 1/4 cup.
An inch and a quarter?
Or 1 1/4 cup water. Excuse me.
Combine flour, yeast, sugar, honey. Mix for 8 to 10 minutes until smooth and it doesn't stick to bowl.
And there's salt in there.
You're not supposed to put the water isn't listed here.
I forgot to add water to this. So.
Yeah, this does not look right.
What do you mean it doesn't look right?
It doesn't look right. Just your measurements look. That's way too much water for 3 3/4 cups flour.
So I have to add more flour.
Because this. Are you sure you did 3 cups?
I did 3 3/4 cups. Yes.
Are you positive?
I did 3.
How did you measure your cups?
With
Can you
cups.
show me?
With cups.
Okay, so that's a half a cup.
Oh, I don't have enough flour.
Yeah.
So I need that.
Yes, you do.
So I need.
Yeah.
So I did.
So you only did. So you need
I
to
did
double.
3 of those.
So you need to do another 3, and
Oh,
then
okay.
you need to do another.
I told you I'm retarded.
No, measure out what you need
I'm going
with your cup. Okay, so you need like 3 more of those, and then on your 3/4 cups flour, what did you use?
I used 1/4 cup, so I got that.
So then, no, you used a 1/4 cup. You need 2 more.
No, I used a 1/4 cup for the 3/4 cup, so I did it 3 times.
Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, so you should
So
just
one more of
need
these.
1.5 cups more. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, so that's 1.5 cups that you just put in.
So now it's
Right.
okay.
So now it should be okay. Lock it in. Okay. You're good.
I told you I was retarded.
Good thing I came in to check.
Yeah, it's a good thing she checked because
Did you make?
did I make what?
Just wondering about the temp too on your water. Because
You said
usually
lukewarm, so it's about room temperature. Oh, that looks more like.
much better, much improved.
She's making fun of me now. She's just giving me the look. You know what? You just take over the Brötchen production. Fraulein. I'm about to get medieval. Mercedes says we're all. Okay, so,
No, it's not ready yet. You can see that it's not, it's working really, really hard to get the bottom, see all the dough there on the bottom? For the flour.
okay, so I need a bowl
Yep.
with lightly oiled
Oil.
side.
Use a glass one, never stainless. Here, I'm gonna check this real quick. Cause I wanna.
It's a good thing she came home.
Good thing I did it.
I mean, it's always a good thing when she comes home, but I mean, it's a good thing she came home when she did, because I'd have been here for 6 hours trying to figure out what's wrong with my bread. Do we have a glass bowl?
Just use one of those.
Doesn't it have to be bigger than the...
Well, if you're gonna let it rise, how long do you let it rise?
Till it
It
doubles. So is this big enough?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad that my suffering at not knowing what to do to make bread is amusing to you, Mercedes. Is it ready now?
Let me check.
See, this is why TC doesn't bake. Because TC's retarded. And we only have 2 votes on can you call it a Christmas party after Christmas, but you both agree, so that must make it true. Well, let me see what it's supposed to look like. Should put her on camera while she's working. She's doing my work for me. There's some sort of parable.
There's,
Okay.
it's bouncing back, see that? That's,
So
you can
she's
see
showing
the
us that it's bouncing back.
elasticity, you can feel the elasticity, it's smooth and it's not sticking, and then see if
So
you just
that's right.
slightly,
So
yep,
that's right.
yep, see, do you see it rising back up?
That's kind of fun.
elasticity.
That's kind of fun. Okay, it says to put a damp towel over it. AVA's doing dishes. It's about time you did your job, woman. What do I use to, like, for a damp towel?
Just use a clean kitchen cloth like that.
Okay, and how damp is damp?
I don't ever,
It said to use a damp towel because this is different than normal.
Cover it with damp, I mean, just like wet it down, don't like,
Okay.
just lightly.
Stop looking at my butt, ABA. I know what you were doing. I know how you are. Is this damp enough?
Probably too much.
Oh, now she got jokes.
That's fine.
All right. And it's supposed to be in a kind of a warm, non-drafty spot, which we can't do.
Okay, the best way that I always do it, because this kitchen is cold, I would get the warming pad, plug it in over here, and just set your dough on top of the warming pad. I'll go get it for you, because it's just too cold in the kitchen. My dough always struggles to rise.
So we're gonna put the dough in the bowl with the damp towel over it, and then we're gonna put a heat pad. Heat pads are great for everything.
Or you could warm up your oven for a little bit and then let the residual heat lock it in and keep your dough, but like a mini proofer. There you go.
I don't really. LOL. What are you kidding me? I don't know. What do you mean? Am I kidding you? I'm not a baker. What do you want from me? All right. So now we got to wait for that to double in size. So now we're gonna get to the part that I don't need help. Thank you very much for that. You know, because I'd have been here mixing until the cows came home. But yeah, now we're gonna get to the part that you guys all love about what I do cooking with TC. We're gonna actually, all right. Let's see here. I think we're good with the poll. Got 11 votes for can you call it a Christmas party after Christmas? 73% said yes. 27% said no. Well, yeah, that's an answer. There we go. Stay home. I see. I don't like parties either. I just never have. I don't like parties. But anyway, so now we're going to start the chicken and wild rice soup. And this is the part that I don't need help with because I like to cook. So we cooked off like 6 bone-in, skin-on chicken thighs. Cooked those off. So this is going to not be the base, but this is going to be the substance, the heartiness of the soup, along with onions, carrots, mushrooms, and we bought pre-sliced mushrooms because pre-sliced mushrooms were like 10 cents more than the others. So I'm lazy when it comes to that. I hate cutting mushrooms any more than I need to. So it's celery, carrots, onion, and I prefer a white onion because that's racist. Celery, carrots. So, think we're gonna do one onion today. Now, obviously, not all the celery and carrots are gonna go. And by the way, I don't peel carrots. I wash them, and then we shred them for this soup. So, and I actually hand shred those. Now I have to find the mushrooms. I don't know where we put the mushrooms. You remember where we put the mushrooms? There they are. I found them. I found the mushrooms. And so, as those of you that have done my other cooking stuff, you never work with a dull knife. Dull knives are dangerous. They're more prone to cutting accidents than anything else. And yeah, I think AVA disappeared. I think when I told him to get his butt in the kitchen where he belongs, I think it offended him. If AVA comes back from doing dishes, everybody should ask him how my kids are. So, contrary to kind of accepted ways of cooking a rice, like especially a wild rice soup, I don't start with water. I start with a stock, and Aldi. You guys know that I like to bargain shop, and Aldi is one of my favorite places to go. I like stock over broth. Stock is heartier, and I start with this as my base. I may add some water here and there, but I also don't put my rice in right away. I wait basically till right before I add the cream, because if you cook your rice for too long, it puffs up, and I don't like that. I like it to AVA, this is a fat-free broth, which I think you probably should focus on. You should probably be a little bit more fat-free. The great thing about doing a live stream without, on my own channel without Skipper or AVA over at when we're doing Veterans Affairs stuff, is I can pick on them and they can't do anything about it. I went to the store today because I had to grab more butter, and we needed garbage bags, and I forgot the garbage bags. You ever done that? So I'm using a decent sized stock pot, and we're gonna cook to the pot because there's not a lot of us eating, and there's gonna be another soup that gets made tomorrow. Well, it's chili, so people go, chili's not soup. It's not stew either. So, but anyway, so you're using decent sized stock pot, but it doesn't have to be large. I use an entire container of. AVA says he's reporting this channel anti-fat people in here. Yeah, just anti-fat veterans. You should be ashamed of yourself, you fat ass. So this is not just a brothy soup. This is actually a creamy soup. So we will be making a roux. There are rules about roux, by the way. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but one of the rules about roux is you never use roux to make macaroni and cheese, and you never use roux to make an Alfredo. If I ever hear somebody say, when do you add the roux when they're making an Alfredo or a mac and cheese, they will be permanently banned from my channel. Mods, you've heard that, right? So. We're all very lucky that Mrs. TC came home, because I would still be standing in the corner staring at the mixer where I deserve to be. Let's.
You should take me to Shields then as a thank you, so I can try on my Blundstones.
Did you hear her? She's bargaining with me now. Because she came home and saved me from my mistake, I am now obligated to take her to Shields so she can try on a pair of Blundstones. See, the problem with her situation is she gets tips for her jobs, the work that she does. She gets people give her extra money. Like, I went to the local coffee shop today and I got myself a coffee. You know what I didn't do? I didn't tip the barista, because screw the barista. You want to know why I say that? Because she was the barista. So why should I tip her when she's just going to bring her tip money home and spend it on herself?
Oh, yeah.
Or she'll take the change and she'll just put it in the change jar. So you know what I did? I brought the change from the coffee home and put it in the change jar. So I won somehow. But now she's trying to get me to take her to go spend her tip. You know what? I don't get tip money. Nobody tips me, and I work hard all day long. All day. I don't get tips. Nobody tips me. Do people?
I also get like 0 crap pay compared to you.
No, she's not. Don't listen to her now. You only listen to her when she's giving baking advice. So. Is it acceptable to check to see if my dough is rising?
No, just leave it alone.
How do I know when it's doubled?
When it looks bigger, check it in like 45 minutes to an hour.
She gets irritated when I ask her questions. She's mean to me. What do you mean I have to be nice to her? It's Christmas. I'm nice to her all the time. I'm never mean to that lady. Should see the way she talks to me. Sometimes she hits me in public. It's not nice. I'm kidding. That's not true. I kind of enjoy it. Whew. Chicken smells so good. I bet you're hungry. Do you need to make lunch? Want me to warm up your leftover pizza?
The one, please.
Well, it's a start.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
You want it in the oven warmed up or microwave? She offered to buy me food last night, which was very kind of her, with her tip money. So she does nice things for me like that all the time. You know what? If you want her to smack me, you have to send a super chat. And I guarantee you, if you send a super chat, she will gladly hit me for money. I guarantee you. She will gladly smack me for money. So yeah, if you want her to smack me, super chat. And if you don't super chat, then you can't say it anymore. I don't care if you have a wrench. I'm going to come over to your house. I'm going to come over to your house and I'm going to put microwave or tin foil in your microwave, AVA. How's that work for you? Mercedes. I only have 50 cents in my Google account. That is not enough. I mean, she'd probably smack me for free, but I'm just not going to let that happen. So if you guys want to see me get smacked, or if you want to know I got smacked, you have to send a super chat. I should be careful because Skipper will pop in and do gift memberships, and then I'll end up getting smacked. So my goal with this stream today is to get me up over my minimum payout for the month. So we have basically a week to get me up over my minimum payout for the month. So I need that extra. I need that extra revenue. It's winter in Minnesota. Things are tight. We have this nice little pizza place here in town. It's called The Pizza Place. Very original. If you're ever in Spring Valley, Minnesota, you should stop by The Pizza Place or Stellar 181. Or soon to be Pivot Coffee. I don't know why Pivot just makes me think of Friends. If you don't know the scene from Friends with Pivot, you should look it up. Question: is it eggnog if there's no alcohol in it? Yeah. It's only eggnog if it's in the trash. So anyway, back to the soup. Is it hot enough? I mean, it's pizza. It's not hot enough if it isn't scalding the flesh off the roof of your mouth. You ever notice that? If you eat something hot enough to scald your the roof of your mouth. Rarely does it ever scald your tongue or the floor of your mouth. That's really weird. I've never heard anybody go, oh my gosh, that burned my tongue. I don't know, you think this might be almost too much chicken? Should I put those all in the soup, you think? Yeah? Oh, I know. I mean, I guess it won't hurt. It'll be hearty.
Whatever you think, and then you can always save the rest of it, or
Well, I'll reserve some of it. And I told you guys before, I save almost everything for the chickens, but I don't give them the onion paper. So. And I don't give them onion much. Contrary to all the food prep that we're doing, we're not hosting Christmas this year. Because I'm a Grinch. And we spent years and years and years hosting. Almost always. And loved it, but it just became a lot for this old guy, and we don't have contact with my side of the family anymore, and so so we just get together with my daughter and her husband and their kids. Love the grands, love being there with them. And then my mother-in-law, and then my one brother-in-law. That's it. That's all we do. And it's a lot less people than we used to have, because we used to have, I think we've had up to like 20, 22 people in our house for holidays in the past. And honestly, outside of Mrs. Minnesota, Mrs. TC, and my daughter, very few people ever actually helped with much of anything by way of food prep or cleanup. And then everybody goes home, and then we're stuck here, just the two of us. Or then when the kids are still home with the kids, you know, the two kids, the four of us would be stuck doing everything, clean up and putting stuff away, and it just got to be a lot. And you would hope that the holidays would bring out the generosity in people. And yes, that you heard me correctly, I don't have much contact, if any, with my family anymore, my side of the family. If you're interested in that story of what happened there and why, you can go to my Substack. If you haven't gone to my Substack, AVA reads my Substack. Well, AVA probably has Mrs. AVA read it to him, because even though he wasn't a Marine, he's probably borderline Marine level comprehension skills. So, but I love the guy though. And I don't say that to too many people, but I love the guy. So that was one onion, and Christmas is hard for a lot of people. My family disowned me because I'm too white. Yeah, I've that just breaks my heart. But yeah, so AVA, if you want to put the link to my Substack in there, I would greatly appreciate that. But yeah, if you're interested in my writing at all, you can read my Substack. I am currently, not like right now, but that's one onion. I'm going to put in about that much to start with, reserve the rest along with the chicken to see how it goes. So this is why I like cooking so much more than baking, because baking is, and this is why Mrs. Minnesota is good at it. Baking is like a lot of chemistry and science. And it takes a lot of patience when it comes to what you're doing. And as you saw, she came in and she fixed my problem immediately. She recognized what I screwed up and she fixed it. And that is, I can't do that with baking. But cooking, on the other hand, is a feel-based performance, if you will. And I love that. I love the experimentation. No, there's a lot of experimentation in baking. I've watched her with her baking and the things that she makes just at home for herself and others. She just does a phenomenal job with it. And I can't. I just, even wanting to make this brötchen, I did it as a challenge to myself. And when I told her I was going to bake bread, I'm going to paraphrase it, because she's sitting in there, and if I lie about her and say something she didn't say, she will remind me that I lied. You're going to what? What the hell is that? What's bread? She goes, you're going to bake? You're going to bake bread? And I think she's forgotten that I have made biscuits. Keto biscuits. I looked up keto biscuits and made keto biscuits for myself. So, and they're actually really good, by the way. So there is a keto-friendly recipe for biscuits that you can serve with a keto-friendly recipe for sausage and gravy. So if you're ever in the mood to get healthy and lose weight, and you want to try keto, let me know. I can pass some things on to you. Oh, by the way, she makes the best fathead pizza crust and the best fathead lasagna. Now, with the celery, some people shy away from the tops of the stems. I love adding the tops of the stems in. I don't think it adds anything to the recipe, but I love adding in the leafy part of the celery. Now, I am not a celery guy. Don't care for celery. Don't like its consistency, but everybody loves the celery in the soup. So I add it in there, and then to compromise, I chop it up so fine that I can't tell it's in the soup. So, but once again, credit to Mrs. Minnesota. She has broadened my horizons, and she gets me to eat things now that I would have never enjoyed eating in the past. So like, we make handmade pico. We make it by hand, and season it on the fly. And sometimes we make a big old pot of pico. When I say pot, obviously we don't cook it. Sometimes we make just this big old pot of pico, and then we stand around it and eat it, like 3/4 of it before we ever get it portioned out. But it is so good. Homemade, handmade pico. And like, pico is one of those that's all about the seasoning and it's all about the balance. So it's got to have just the right amount of red and green. And if you're going to use onions, what kind of onions? Red onions and white onions. So that's about as much celery as I'm going to put in, and I'm going to put all of this in. Now, if you're wondering, I do have the heat on a very low temp because we're not in a hurry with the soup. A lot of people, I think when they cook really fast. They want everything done right now, and that's understandable. So like, if you're making a grilled cheese, there's no need to dink around, right? But you also have to be on top of it then when you're making it. Thanks for sharing the Substack again. But yeah, I was talking about Substack. So if you want to see, the things that I write about, it's a different side of me, kind of like the cooking streams are. Substack is definitely a far different side of TC than many of you are used to. The YouTube channel is oftentimes just a lot of TC being angry about some stupid stuff that some government entity has decided to do. And let's be honest, 99% of everything a government entity decides to do is stupid. I literally cannot think of one thing that government does that we couldn't do better on our own. I just like... Oh, actually, let's make that a poll. Or a question. Is it rising?
A little bit. Yeah, you can smell
Does it smell yeasty?
it. Yep.
He just went outside a little while ago, right before you got home. There we go. So what is one thing government does better than we can do? So these are pre-sliced. I think they're just standard white mushrooms. Oh, the chickens are doing really well actually. It's been really warm this week, so and they do okay when it's even colder. They've been laying eggs. I go about once every 4 days they won't lay, which for the number of chickens that I have and the number of eggs that they lay, I get at least 2, sometimes up to 5 or 6 eggs a day. So, but yeah, these are pretty much standard white mushrooms. I won't chop them up much further, but I will cut them down some. And I will put all of the mushrooms in because everybody loves the mushrooms. I've even come to enjoy mushrooms in the soup. But we won't tell Mrs. Minnesota that. We won't tell Mrs. TC. She didn't hear that. And if you tell her I said that, I will deny it. But yeah, so I write a lot about I do write some political, philosophical stuff, some worldview things when it comes to politics. I owe my friend Josh from the Disaffected podcast a second installment of the history of corruption and policing. I wrote my first essay on that for him right before Mrs. Minnesota had her heart attack, or nearly fatal heart attack. I don't know, actually. I might not actually use all of these, but we'll see. So, yeah, for those of you that don't know, we did almost lose Mrs. Minnesota last year on November 13th. And I wrote that the very first thing that I published on Substack was talking about what happened to her. And I had started the Substack to follow Josh, because Josh is just a phenomenal writer. He's a phenomenal voice about culture. And so if you're looking for a follow that would be intriguing and helpful to you, I would also not only follow Josh on Substack at the Disaffected podcast, Disaffected newsletter, but also find the Disaffected podcast on YouTube and follow Josh there, because Josh talks about culture and political philosophy from the perspective of studying cluster B personality disorders and showing how there are a lot of people in society who are advancing their political agendas via the strength of their cluster B personality disorders. So, and Josh knows from firsthand experience how bad and dangerous that disorder is. So now we are going to shred carrots. By the way, dogs love carrots, so we're going to give Mr. Calvin a carrot because he loves carrots. And he has a toy for carrots that helps him eat carrots. So we're going to give him one. I'll go get the toy and show you guys. How do you want carrots? Where did carrot boy go? It looks like the Grams probably disappeared the carrot toy, and I am not going to go looking for it. So, if your dog likes crunch, give him carrot. Calvin also likes peppers. He loves peppers. So I wash the carrots just to get any residual dirt or anything that might be on them off. Anything that's too old and flaky. I shut up. Everybody got quiet. You must be all doing your own things right now. How dare you? I want my shredder and not my zester. Well, who disappeared my shredder?
It should be in the sink I used. Should be in the sink, in the clean sink. Find it?
Yes, thank you. AVA, Kahanu, I just wanted to let you know that I reached out to another really big channel on YouTube that covers a lot of like stories about missing and unexplained disappearances. And I reached out to their host on X, and I'm going to ask them if they'd be willing to come on and do a show with you for Better Nation Unexplained. So, because that's how I am. I'm about you. We need a new toaster. Nobody likes our toaster anymore because the handle keeps falling off. You remember the cliched, how all the cartoons and old TV shows always showed toasters that would throw toast out of... Our toaster actually does that. It actually throws toast, right? It will throw toast, especially if you're only doing one piece, right out of the toaster. I should show you guys. Now, some of you were saying, TC, wouldn't it have been easier to just buy shredded carrots? I'm stupid and I didn't think of that, so. So what we're learning today is I'm stupid on a lot of things. One of them is I didn't put in the right amount of flour, and two is I didn't buy shredded carrots. Sometimes it's worth it to spend a little more to not do this work, but I guess this is in keeping with the theme of the channel, though. Watch me cook. I think kids say that. The kids say that. Now, let them cook. I don't think it means what I think it means, but. I haven't even done my workout today. I was going to do that later this afternoon. I chose passivity today and stayed in bed until like 6:15. I chose laziness. think I'm gonna make some coffee. I want some coffee. Do you need a coffee? She's a coffee snob, by the way. She's got a little, almost 2 years ago, she got this nice little, she can make espresso, she can make lattes, it's got a steamer on it. And those of you that don't know, a couple of years ago I was selling my own brand of coffee. I had my own coffee brand that I was getting from a roaster, and it was selling really good, selling like hotcakes. And I sold cases and cases and cases of it, and then people just stopped ordering. So said they liked it, but clearly they didn't like it much to keep buying it, or it was just too expensive. I don't know. But yeah, sold cases of it. So I just stopped getting it. And these are the last 2 bags. This one's open. Did you open one of these coffees?
Yes.
Cool. I'm glad, because I want it used up. Oh, I better get the dishwasher going. Mrs. Minnesota's gonna need a pan or a mixing bowl. She had a phenomenal idea last weekend. We bought pork loin, a whole pork loin, and she cut it into thirds. I don't know, she didn't say we, she did that. And then on Sunday, she came up with this really good rub. She made a wet rub, and then I grilled it on a cold night last Sunday night. Grilled that thing, which when you're in Minnesota, you will grill year round. I'll grill in sub-zero weather because I can just step outside, check the grill, and step back in the house because I keep the grill on the deck. And so she grilled, or I grilled that after she seasoned it, and it was a little barky because I was having a hard time controlling the temp on the grill, but it's a wood-fired grill, a little Weber kettle grill, and man, it came out so moist and tender, and just really, really good. And then this morning, when I got up, because I chose to be passive this morning, I made the last 3 pieces of it, put them in the oven, and covered them in barbecue sauce, and they came out just absolutely amazing. Still tender, still moist. So that's a sign of a well done. And that mostly is due to how we cooked it, or not mostly, but in part due to how we cooked it, but also because of the rub that she made. The rub made it just absolutely perfect. So. Take a look at the soup. Let's see. Here we go. I suppose I could also do it the easier way. There we go. So that's the base. Still waiting for someone to answer what's one thing the government does better than we can do ourselves. There we go. Haven't got an answer to that yet. But I'm gonna go look at my Brötchen dough. That sounded very German, didn't it? Oh yeah, that's rising. Better pause that dishwasher. All right, 1 second. for. But if you like the show and you want to support it, especially when I'm doing my normal shtick, you can also email me, mbrrmedia@yahoo.com, mbrrmedia@yahoo.com, and let me know if you want a coffee mug or a tumbler. Or shot glasses. I have some customized shot glasses I think you guys would just absolutely love. Where'd the one go? This is one that we use at home. It's well worn, as you can see. So if you like that, you can do that. So I make my own little mochas here. I use 0 sugar chocolate syrup. Just make a little mocha. Just make a little mocha. Just mocha. George Bush says, just make a little mocha. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. Fool me three times. Don't be fooled again. Don't be fooled. I hear you, America hears you, and the world hears you. They hate us for our freedoms. Hey, Phoenix, I know who Phoenix is. Thanks for stopping in, Phoenix. Good to see you. Phoenix is, I have to be careful how I say this because it sounds weird if I say it the wrong way. Phoenix is one of my projects that you guys don't know. You haven't met Phoenix yet. Her and her family have a very interesting story. And I have been working on this story, and off and on, for almost 2 years now. And so we've introduced Phoenix's family story just a little bit. Her dad was thrown in prison for self-defense and won a new trial. And he's home now because they threw out his conviction on appeal. And we are working on, we're going to be covering the trial if they ever get around to doing it. I think they might drop the charges. I've told Phoenix that. So. So I am going to now add some actual water to this and not just rely on the broth. But you see how this has already kind of gotten thickened up a little, and that's without the rice in it and the wild rice yet. So, and then we're going to start with the seasonings. Oh yeah, absolutely. We will do a show talking about Steven, but I am trying to play it close to the vest right now, so that's why I haven't said your first name or your family's last name. So now the nice thing is that there's been enough coverage of it that it'd be hard for it's going to be really hard for the prosecution to take this back to trial, especially after what has already been exposed. I mean, the judge, I can't even remember which judge it is off the top of my head right now. You'll have to forgive me, but the judge, was it Haney? Is it getting close?
It's good.
You look like you need a nap. Hungry still? Can I make you something? Want some of your pudding? You want me to make you a charcuterie? Want me to stop what I'm doing and drive you to Shields? No? Alright. Yeah, Haney. Yeah, trial in March. Rescheduled for March, but I would not be surprised if they keep pushing it off. So, I don't think they have a hatred for self-defense, but I don't know if they're ready to go all in on their hatred for self-defense right now, because even as progressive left as the courts in the state have gone, they're really starting to weigh in on self-defense cases and say, got to be very careful that you're not treading on people's natural rights and constitutional rights. So anyway, yeah. So yeah, now we're gonna start with the seasonings. Camera's pointing this way. You can make yourself something. Nobody will be able to see you. So you can even make a coffee. Did you hear me?
It's like, well, just you can see section. They're nowhere here, so like.
Room for you to come in and make food. They won't be able to see you. So, Mrs. Minnesota said that she'll come on camera if we get a $30 super chat.
No, do not.
Yeah, she said it.
No, I did not.
She's okay. $50 super chat. We get a $50 super chat, Mrs. Minnesota will come on camera. I guarantee you.
Stop it.
So that's the whole point of super chats. I'm supposed to like grift off my audience. That's what super chat. Somebody help me explain super chats. That's what it's for. It's for grifting. Good. If you guys saw Mrs. Minnesota, you'd wonder why she stays married to me. No, AVA, she will not take her clothes off for $50. Good Lord. AVA didn't say that. AVA, you're a perv. I can't believe you even thought that. Speaking of AVA and his perversion, did you start your OnlyFans yet? All right, seasonings. AVA's not paying attention. I said something and he hasn't responded yet. Normally when I make a smart ass comment, he's there right away. So I've shown you guys before, I prefer better than bouillon. I take better than bouillon over any other bouillon product. It's a much better product. And it's affordable-ish. Obviously, like Weiler's. And by the way, I've said this before. I do not like bouillon cubes. I grew up with bouillon cubes, but when they started doing bouillon granules, became much more of a fan of that. So if you're not gonna spring for better than bouillon, go for like the bouillon granules or powder. It mixes better. And I think it provides a better flavor. It's probably just me, but it's just how I feel. I like it better. So now you don't need salt when you're using a bouillon or a base. And remember, I don't do this to recipe per se. I do it by feel and taste. And so remember, this is not a broth soup. This is a cream soup with the broth as the base. And so we will be adding a roux and then a cream to that. So you season for the finished product and not for the current product. And then you can finish seasoning the finished product. So this is kind of a rustic European feel. So it also has a little bit of heat to it, so we're using a little bit of black pepper, a little bit of red pepper powder, not a lot. We don't want it to be overpowering. Too many people, even when they're making like a buffalo sauce or something along that lines, you know, a hot sauce for something like chicken or beef or something, they think that the hotter the better, and a lot of times they sacrifice flavor because they think that makes, you know, the heat is what makes it. And like if your goal is just to burn people's mouths off with the seasoning, then go for it, but that's not quality food. So cayenne pepper, white pepper. We do about once every few months, we take a trip to a place that we lovingly refer to as the Bent and Dent. It's an Amish discount store, and they sell like bulk seasonings. rosemary leaves. And I use dried nut fresh for this. I save the fresh rosemary for pan roasting chicken and pork and beef. And on the very, very rare occasions where I buy myself like a lamb chop, which once again, very rare. I don't, every once in a while I'll find it on a good sale price at Aldi and I'll buy it there. But so we've added garlic, we've added black pepper, red pepper, white pepper, rosemary. I'm going to use a little bit of ground marjoram. Now, if you want just one easy seasoning mixture, you could always buy a poultry seasoning. Poultry seasoning is easy to find. I just like the feel of being able to mix. And then this is thyme powder. I have thyme leaves as well, but there again, the powder works better for seasoning a soup. I'm sure it's out there somewhere, but I've never been able to find a ground rosemary seasoning for soups. So the rosemary actually kind of gives you two things. It'll give you a little bit of texture as well as the flavor, because as the dried leaves take in some of the moisture of the soup, they expand and release their flavor. It's already got really good flavor. On the early end, I'm going to let it heat a little bit longer. I'm going to check the bread dough. And see if it's doubled in size. Well, it's getting there. Uh-oh, lost everybody. Got bored. Okay, that's fine. I could say all sorts of things now. Hey, Mercedes. I'm a somewhat penny pinching, frugal individual, and so when I get down to the bottom of the jar of the better than bouillon, I fill it with hot water and stir it. Vigorously. And voila. No, we could probably, no one answered the question. It's all right. And I can't tell all of you guys enough, the channel members, especially how much, man, the seals they put on this thing. Ironically, it's better than bouillon, and it's probably got better seals on it than Fort Knox. Which, by the way, where'd all the gold in Fort Knox go? Remember we were going to have that Doge audit? And we're going to audit Fort Knox to find out where the gold went? What happened to that? Does anybody remember that? That we were going to audit or do a Doge investigation into Fort Knox? It's got a very appealing aroma. See where we're at. Getting it. Maybe a touch of salt. And I use sea salts. Celtic sea salt and pink Himalayan sea salt. We can debate, I know. The Himalayans aren't in the sea. They used to be. You don't know anything about the Himalayas. They still find fossilized deep sea shell fossils. deep sea shell fossils up in the Himalayas. Almost like there was a flood or something at one time. If you know what I mean. Or maybe even some other cataclysmic event that shattered the crust of the earth and thrust mountains up out of the deep. But yeah, anyway. More garlic. Black pepper. White pepper. Touch more of red. And there again, that's the powdered thyme. Powdered marjoram. And once again, as a reminder, you can use poultry seasoning if you prefer. I just don't like. I don't like being locked into their mixtures as far as how much you add. So. Oh, I wish that YouTube could communicate aroma. I just put in the last of the reserved onions and last of the reserved mushrooms. Probably going to add in more of the chicken. The last of the chicken, actually. Now, if you're the kind of person that doesn't like to take the time, what you wanted for breakfast? You're having breakfast for dinner, or you're talking about breakfast tomorrow? Oh, she's going to show me something on her phone. Something funny. What is that? It's a holiday drink. How am I supposed to? I can't do this. I can't get this today. Where am I supposed to get that?
It's open today.
They're closed by now.
No, they're open until late.
Well, you need to. Where are we gonna get pomegranate juice?
Get it in the grocery store.
We'll call TJ's and find out what time they close and if they have raspberry vodka.
They're already. They're until
Do they have you could find out if they have raspberry vodka. Yeah, we can do that. Make yourself useful. Check the dough. I'm gonna get it. 11:33 a.m. Where are you? Oh, I suppose you're West Coast time. You're Pacific time, aren't you? That's right. You're up there, and it is risen. Oh. All right, we are going. You guys are in for a treat. TC's gonna do some stuff to this dough that should not be allowed to be seen on video. It's gonna be terrible. We're gonna violate this dough in so many ways. Yeah, once again, thank you to the better half, and she really is. She's always been the better half. So I knew that for a long time. Did not realize how much of a better half she was until the day I almost lost her, and then I was like, oh boy, Lord, if you take her, you take me, because I cannot live without her. And I meant it. I wouldn't have lasted 2 weeks. If I'd lost her that day, it had been adios, sayonara. It would have been divine wind. So, oh, who's here? Grampy Guy. Good to see ya. Everybody say hi to Grampy Guy. I don't get a chance to have him in stream very often. Yeah, I could not have lived without her. And that is not an over-exaggeration. There's a reason why when the wife goes first, the husband almost always goes within weeks to months. Almost always, not always the case, but there is a reason. But like my grandfather, on my maternal grandfather, my mom's adopted dad, he went. So here's what gets men most of the time, especially when they've been married for a long time. What gets men is retirement. I'm not saying you should be forced to work your whole life. I just think that you're meant to be working. And so many people spend all of their life working towards retirement. So like the Ben Shapiro idea, I can't stand Ben Shapiro, but he made that just terrible comment several weeks ago about what makes you think you should be entitled to retirement. You know, everybody should have to take care of you. Okay, Zionist. Who gets all your money from geopolitical Zionists, Israel? But we're made to work, and so when you have that taken away from you, when you get pushed into retirement, which is what happened to my maternal grandfather, he died within basically months. But my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, my mom's adopted mother, she went on for years, got remarried. And outlived that husband. You know, my father was killed in 2005, and my mom's still going. Dad was killed at the age of 59, and mom's 75 now. So I'm gonna turn the heat down on the broth side of the soup for a minute. It's getting really good flavor. So here's the Brötchen dough. But yeah, women outlive men. Here's the Brötchen dough. So there we go. So it looks very good. Oh, it smells so yeasty. Oh God, this is my first time making bread, folks. So you have no idea how excited I am that she rescued me from my debacle, and because I was a panicking. But yeah, women outlive men more often than not, and then if they do go before the men go. And I think a lot of it's because men just lose their reason for being, their raison d'etre. I mean, a man who loves his woman, like everything about him, ultimately comes down to, I'm doing this life, I'm living this life for her, and to take care of her and be the provider that I was created to be, that I was made to be, that I'm supposed to be. And then when you take that away, you lose purpose. And you take purpose away from a man, and it just wrecks him. So I'm going to weigh this when I take it out because I want to divide it into 8 to 10 equal size rolls. What's it mean to punch down your dough? Because I feel like I'm literally punching it. What? I feel like you're making fun of me right now. You did, like, beat it until it's... Beat it into submission is what I'm doing?
Take it out of the glass bowl.
Should I leave the stuff that sticks behind?
Yeah.
I wish you can you smell it? Yeah, it's a sign of my not being a man that I'm baking. Whatever. Cooking and baking are traditionally male occupations, by the way, always have been. I'll take my ballless life compared to your stupidity any day. So anyway, so let's weigh this and see roughly what 8 to 10 of these is going to come in at. 2 pounds. So that would give us 8 evenly divided. So, but I guess I have to punch it down first. Oh, that's cathartic. Am I going to punch it till it's flat?
No, just punch it once.
Okay.
And then what are you supposed to do after punching it down?
Divide it into 8 to 10.
Okay, so roll it back up in a ball.
Why did I punch it if I got to roll it back into a ball?
Okay, then you can divide it now.
So what do I do? Do I roll Do I roll it back into a ball and divide it, or do I divide it evenly now? What do you want?
Divide it evenly now.
Okay. Can I weigh it out and get it even that way?
Sure.
Can I add in pieces?
Eyeball it.
I
would roll it into a log and then cut it into 8 equal part pieces. That's what I would do.
roll it into a log. Okay, that looks like a giant turd. So. See, this is why. I'm gonna measure this. I need like precision. That's. I don't feel right doing it that way. But yeah, as I was saying, it's men were made to be like caretakers in the sense of like providing for their family, and when you take that away from them, they lose their purpose. That's why men. That's why the warrior culture in masculinity is so strong. Apart from just the last 80 years of fighting all these stupid, worthless conflicts around the globe, the men want to be able to go say that, like, hey, I'm fighting this war for my family. Ultimately, that's what people are like. I'm doing this to protect my family. I'm doing this to provide for them, provide security and safety for them, and it's really why women shouldn't be in combat positions. Even for all of my critiques of law enforcement, I'd much rather have male law enforcement officers than females. Women just should not be in that position. For one, a woman who can be trained to kill, to do harm to another individual, even in self-defense on a regular basis, you're robbing her of her femininity. And when you begin to rob women of their femininity, you are creating in society a vacuum of what the importance of female empathy provides. And that's a scary place for a culture to find itself, for society to find itself in. When women begin to think and behave like men, and they lose sum and substance of what it means to be female. And that's how we end up in a culture where people can't even define what a woman is anymore in a lot of situations. And and then we even, like we had here, and I don't care if he was joking or not, even the statement of like, oh, you ain't got no balls, you're cooking. Well, if you look biblically, some of the most compelling lessons that we learn from the Bible are center around men doing things that would be oftentimes considered. Okay, we're gonna get 12 rolls out of that. That's cool. They're not all exactly the same size. That's all right. So now I'm supposed to roll these. I'm gonna get out a baking sheet and line it. So, what are we running into here? I don't know. I doubt it. I don't think I don't think Jeff and Connie are paying any attention to my channel anymore. Connie made a blithering fool out of herself 2 weeks ago, and like I said, Connie wrecked herself. I didn't have to wreck her. I just helped. I gave her the tool to hang, you know. So, cup and then roll. Cup hand over a piece on a clean surface and move in a circular motion, creating a tight, smooth ball. No jokes, Grampy guy. No jokes. No jokes. This is my Christmas gift to the family, by the way, this year. Couldn't afford to get the kids much. Mrs. Minnesota paid for the grandkids' gifts out of her tip money. You know, so I was teasing her about tips earlier, but she just, everything that we do for the kids, she pays for out of her tip money. Oh, and then it says flatten the ball slightly. Roll gently into an oval. Flatten slightly. Roll gently into an oval. Okay. Oh, these are going to be really cool. You should see these. I'm very proud of myself right now. I'm very proud of myself right now. These are going to turn out. These are already looking exactly the way they should. You don't know. This is like the greatest Christmas gift I could give you, even though I couldn't get you what I really wanted to get you this year. This is amazing. I'm baking. I don't understand what it says. Press slightly flat and then fold the top and the bottom. I mean, just the top here and the bottom here. So you fold it into the middle.
I would assume so. That's, yeah.
Like that. Because I'm like, how do I fold the top and the
Right.
bottom?
I would assume that's what you do. How many pieces are you supposed to get out of it?
We're going to have 12 on this one.
How much do they expand? I would probably recommend putting it into baking pans.
It said that,
They might expand a little bit.
well, that I have to rise.
Oh,
it.
you have to do the second rise.
Nobody sent a super chat for me to get smacked, so you guys don't get to see that. That's Mercedes' fault because she didn't have enough money in her YouTube account. So, Mercedes, you didn't get to see me get smacked because you are broke like me. So, Grampy guy, are you home yet, or are you still at the are you still at the care center getting taken care of? For anybody who doesn't know, Grampy guy has been around for a long time and channel member, as you can see. And but he's been having some health struggles. I assumed you were still there. I didn't know if you were going to get a chance to go home for the holiday. I assume when it says shape into a tight, smooth ball, it doesn't mean you're going to get rid of every single tiny little crevice, right? They're still going to be there, right? I can't make it like look like a perfectly smooth ball. Like there's going to still be wrinkles and stuff in it, right? Well, Grampy Guy, I hope that even though you're stuck in the care center for the holidays, that you're able to see your family. I make jokes about not wanting to hang out with people, but if I was in that position, I would be miserable, so you're stronger than I am. See, that's a Grampy Guy just, brought up that he's waiting for Medicaid to put in a ramp, and I like think about that. Like, if we could just get government out of our life, all of us would have a lot more money, and people could have, stepped up, and even if they weren't super wealthy, would have been able to help Grampy Guy get a ramp put in. And there are organizations out there that help, like especially those who pay attention to the work that we do on Veteran Nation. That there are veteran organizations that help vets, but you have to be a vet, and obviously because they're veteran organizations. And there are other organizations that do things, but everybody's specialized, and which is understandable. You can't help everyone, but we could help a lot more people if we had a lot more of our own money in our pocket to be able to do those things. And the more government gets involved, the more likely you are to not have the money to help other people when they need it, and vice versa. And that's really frustrating and irritating. So like, Mercedes is from British Columbia, which Canada has their single payer health system. This is not meant to be disparaging to Canadians, but single payer health system sounds all well and good until you're the person that's waiting for something from the government to do what you could have gotten done maybe if you had the money to pay for things on your own. But when they tax the piss out of you, you get left with no options but to rely on government. And then the more options that you have to, push off onto government, the more likely you are to be dependent on government. And that's the way government wants you. They want you utterly and totally dependent on them. And that's where, the poverty comes in. The U.S. doesn't have a poverty issue because government doesn't do enough to take care of people. The U.S. has a poverty issue because government is way too involved in our day-to-day lives. They have way too much ability to take money from us. That's why you'll often hear me refer to Americans as wage slave tax cattle. I mean, I'm in that working poor category in the sense of I go to work every day, and like I grew up poor. My family, we grew up poor. We didn't have, I knew we were poor, but I didn't understand poverty. Because I didn't understand how hard my parents were working just to put a roof over our heads and to pay for, food. And so when we would have like once a month or once a pay period, more often it was once a month, we would we would have the honor, and it was a great honor, to just go to a local restaurant that we thought was just fancier than all we get out, which now today we would refer to in our time frame as, a mom and pop. So the 30 to 45 more minutes on that to rise. What did I do with my? Oh, there. Yep. Oh no, right. There we go. So yeah, we'd go to our local place. It was called the Red Lion Inn. Right, exactly, Mercedes, precisely. About the Robert Tower situation. But we'd go to the local mom and pop place called the Red Lion Inn, and Dad would have the ground steak, which of course is just a flattened hamburger. We'd have deep fat fried cauliflower for an appetizer. My brother and I would order the French bread pizza, off the kids menu, and I remember this. And my mom would have a burger or a salad or something. And that was a massive thing. Even going to McDonald's at that time was a treat, right? And so I knew that we were working poor, but I didn't understand what it meant to be working poor until after the sheriff's office situation and getting forced out of that career and I look around and I'm surrounded by people who are working poor. I'm also surrounded by people who are driven into their own form of poverty because they're so beholden to living their life on credit cards, financing everything. When I worked for the sheriff's office, I had a fellow deputy that castigated me because my kids had never been to Disney World. And I mean, it was like in the break room during the day. We were out on lunch. We would shut down the facility, the detention center, for an hour. We had a 45-minute window for lunch. And we couldn't leave because we had to be able to respond in case there was an emergency or of some sort, whatever that might be. And he just castigated me. He spent the whole time castigating me for not ever taking my kids on an actual vacation, for not taking them to Disney World or out to Disneyland or down to, SeaWorld. And it all stemmed from talking about home education, homeschooling, and the sacrifices that we chose to make as a family. And the kids didn't get a choice in that. Obviously, mom and dad made that decision, but we chose to have Mrs. Minnesota be a stay-at-home person, stay-at-home mom, and home educate the kids. And that was a conscientious decision, and it worked for us. We weren't poor. There were times things would get tight from time to time, but us not going on vacation had nothing to do with poverty. It had everything to do with we chose to spend our money in different places, and we weren't living on credit. The only thing that we had on credit at the time was a vehicle and a house. We did have a loan for the car. We had a loan for the house. It's just hard. You can't live without that, right? But those were still conscientious decisions, and he's got, he's got a brand new boat, fishing boats every couple of years, and brand new car every couple of years, brand new truck to tow his boat, and a brand new trailer to tow his boat, and brand new fishing equipment all the time, and because he fishes in these tournaments and he gets paid for them, and he wasn't making bank doing that. He wasn't some super famous guy who was on TV for a fishing show, which I will never understand, watching other people fish as a full-time, like enjoyment actor. I got a channel I watch on YouTube occasionally that the guy goes out and he does his own little fishing videos, and it's a popular channel, but he's not making a living doing it, and he's mocking me for the choices that we made as a family, and that's that indentured poverty. He didn't realize how poor he really was, compared to how he was mocking me. So I didn't understand what it meant to be really working poor until I was on the management side of that, where all of a sudden now you're having to decide. And that's been one of the hard places for me is, a lot of times I'll have to look at the kids and, hey, let's get together and go out. And I'm like, we can't afford to do that this week, or I can't, or we make a sacrifice, or Mrs. Minnesota, offers or does pay for things, so on her anniversary of her heart attack, we took her over and she got a piercing that she had been wanting for quite some time, and we did that to kind of commemorate her survival. But she had to pay for all of that out of her tip money, and that hurts when you're a guy. That it doesn't feel good, and this goes back to what I was saying, earlier. When the wife goes before the husband, especially when it's a death, when it's when someone dies, the spouse, the surviving, the husband, just they lose their purpose, they lose their raison d'etre, and I think you see that play out, especially with retirement, when you all of a sudden now you're not bringing in the income, you're living off that residual income of whatever retirement you have, or Social Security, and even that's getting harder for people to live on. And you even see it play out on a different level in families when they get divorced. Men oftentimes who get divorced go into a form of self-destructive rebellion. I've seen it over and over and over again, and I'm not going to mention names in particular, but somebody I knew very, 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 very well, somebody I was incredibly familially close to, multiple divorces, each one leading to more, just a societal rebellion. No one would look at this individual and say, oh my gosh, this guy's a train wreck. They'd look at him and say, wow, look, he's got everything together. Look at his career. Look at what he does for a living. And, he's clearly an upstanding member of society. I'm not saying he's not. But it was one divorce after another divorce, literally, and then a failed relationship that might as well have been a marriage into now another marriage. So basically 4 marriages. And no one can understand the most recent marriage. Like, how in the heck these people have nothing in common other than a love for a particular story arc that's out there. And literally, that's the only thing they have in common. And it's because men were designed, created, evolved, social evolution, if you will, were evolved to be providers, the hunters, and to some degree even the gatherers, and like I said earlier, in the Bible there are the stories of men, where it talks, especially uh, Jacob and Esau, how Isaac calls Jacob and Esau to him, and there's this interaction where Jacob steals, or not, excuse me, I'm getting it back up. But the one brother steals from the other brother his birthright by pretending to be the brother and cooking a meal that the father loves. Just mind-blowing. And that destroyed Esau. It just absolutely destroyed Esau. And Esau was already bitter and angry because he saw that his brother was getting far more attention all the time. He was favored, the favored son. They were twins, right? But he was the favored son, and Esau got bitter and angry about it. And when his brother stole his birthright from him, Esau's gone, done. He's done. I'm done. I'm done. I'm going to end you. It just absolutely collapsed who he was as a human being. And there's a moral in that for us. And if you look at how feminism has impacted society today, it's ruined manhood. It literally, the comment earlier from the guy, the drive-by poster, about how I'm ballless because she's got me baking. Like, first of all, she didn't make me do this. I chose to do it. I guarantee you if I asked the right way and I said, hey, would you try this recipe for me? She would have done it. Because she likes to do those things for me. But society, we've got this view that, like, okay, yeah, there are things that are distinctly male and there are things that are distinctly female. Child rearing, obviously child birthing, but child rearing. Children were meant to be reared predominantly by their mother, with father being there and being part of their life and adding types of direction to their life. But women were meant to be with their children, and feminism has come into the world, come into society, and has wrecked femininity, has wrecked the roles, has said that women should be able to do everything that men can do and are capable of doing everything that men can do and doing it better, because that's what we're told all the time. If a guy can do it, a woman can do it better. And I don't want a society where women can be trained to kill better than men. It's terrifying to me. And we're seeing that play out. Our military is being feminized because we're training women to become killers, like men. And then we wonder what's going on with our culture. Men are being feminized because they're being told it's feminine to cook, it's feminine to bake. Well, it's not feminine. Those are traditionally male roles. But we've lost sight of all of that. We don't know anymore what it means to have male and female roles. But then men who think it's masculine to do one thing and not do another don't understand their own roles in society either. It's funny, guys that have the most jaded, misogynistic views of what is male behavior are often the ones who spend all of their time sitting on their lazy asses watching professional sports and college sports and playing video games. That is just true. Demonstrably true. There was a time where men were the teachers, where men were the deep thinkers, where men were the philosophers, men were the carriers of new ideas, the spreading of intelligence and of intellect and activity. And now the men carry the virus of anti-intellectualism and slavish love for worthless things like professional sports. I mean, look at the stupidity levels of the people that have fallen in love with professional wrestling. And I'm not saying there aren't incredibly intelligent people out there who, on occasion, will enjoy a professional wrestling match. But for the most part, the bulk of society that still follows things like professional wrestling are men, and we are now seeing more and more women get into it too, like watching and taking part in it. But look at their intellect. Look at the intellect levels of those individuals. Subpar. And the more that people get into that, the more that people get into professionals. I deal with this constantly. Men used to be, like I said, the progenitors of new ideas. They used to be the warriors against bad ideas. But now, and men would have wealth of knowledge in their mind. They could talk about philosophy. They could talk about religious philosophies and worldview philosophies. They could talk about all those things, and they could be well accepted in highly intellectual circles. And now we make fun of people who are highly intellectual and call them things like homo and whatever. Even now in our accepting society, people, you nerds, what are you, queer? Like what? Because I'm a thinker, I must be gay. Well, think about that. One, I don't know how you can arrive at that conclusion, but that's the stupidity level, the anti-intellectualism that has led people to think that it's better to be able to memorize a lineup on a football team, a professional football team going back 20 years, than it is to be able to think your way through a philosophical problem. You have this. Is that your new toaster? This is an Avante Elite. I bought this over 15 years, well over 15 years ago. Yeah. Let's give it a taste. Oh my gosh, this is so good. Now it's time for the rice. I hope you don't need that whole bottle of coconut extract. Do you need that whole bottle of coconut extract? Okay, because somebody put it in the cabinet and didn't put the light on it or the lid on it real well. and a little bit of it spilled. That's strong. Smells like, makes me want to go to the beach. I think that's why you guys like coconut so much. It makes you think about sunshine. Yeah, it will. It's a bagel-sized toaster. All right, so here we go with the rice. So this is going to sound counterintuitive. We're going to add because it's a chicken and wild rice soup, we're going to have white rice in there with it, and we're also going to I'm making chicken and wild rice soup, Grampy guy, and German Brötchen. I've never made bread before, so I picked, a more difficult type of bread to make because I'm smart like that. So I'm going to add more wild rice than white rice because the focus is the wild rice, and then the white rice is going to be the kind of the filler. So we're going to do a little over a cup of wild rice. And you notice we're not putting this in right away, like I said at the beginning, because we don't want the rice to overcook. So I did about a cup and a quarter roughly. And so for the white, we're going to do about 3/4 of a cup. That's a little more than I wanted. Let me stir that in. Oh, this is so hearty. It's so hearty. So we're not even going to need a real thick roux. And I'm just going to use the remaining stick of butter from the Brötchen. I'm just going to use unsalted butter. You can use salted butter, unsalted butter, whatever you prefer. Hey, can you send me the ingredients for that so I can go out there and do that? I'm not worried about it. I'm just asking you to send me the ingredients. Well, no, you're going to want to cook, so like making area. Make your stuff, but I need you to send the ingredients. So the key to a roux is low and slow. Oh my gosh, that is so good, guys. It is, oh, so good. And it's possible to like way over thicken your roux, so you don't want your roux to look like a paste when you're done. If you make a roux that looks more like a paste, you're probably dealing with more of a closer to something like bechamel, which is one of the French mother sauces, and you don't want a bechamel. That's a completely different application. Sometime we'll talk about all the different mother sauces. Gotta check my... So we're going to use the convection oven, but we're not going to use the convection option on the convection oven. Yeah, so we have a, here, I'll show you guys. We have a dual oven. So we have an upper oven that does everything. It's not just a warming oven. And then we have a lower oven, which is a convection oven. That's a true convect. And it's great for a lot of types of baking, even, you know, breads and stuff, but I'm not going to use it for the Brötchen, and I don't think that Mrs. Minnesota uses the convection for the cheesecake when she makes it. So convection just, it speeds up cooking, and there are things that you want to do like with any cooking. Not fast is not always good. In fact, rarely is it good. So we're going to preheat the oven to 450. And we're going to place a metal sheet tray on the bottom rack. And so the reason that that metal rack is going in there is that when you first put the Brötchen, the raw Brötchen in, you pour a half cup of hot water onto that bottom tray, and then you close the oven really well. And what that hot water does is it continues to steam, obviously, inside of the oven. But it helps crisp the outside of the roll of the bread. And that's one of the characteristics of Brötchen, is the very crisp, very golden brown, dark golden brown feel to it. It's phenomenal stuff. There was this little shop, a bunch of them actually, but one of my favorites when I was living in Frankfurt, Germany, there was a tiny little shop on the military concern that I was stationed at, that they served these Brötchen and Black Forest ham and Gruyere cheese sandwiches. There was no butter on it. It was just the ham, the Brötchen, and the cheese. And it was like, you could get 3 of them at the time. This was early 90s, early 90s, 91, 92, 93 time frame. You could get 3 of those for like 6 mark and a can of German Coke. German Coke was served flat. It had no carbonation, and it had a hint of lemon in it. And yeah, you got like 5 or 6 marks. You got 3 of those sandwiches, and it was a great lunch. It was also a very fattening lunch. So keep in mind, I was 300 pounds a few years ago, and that all started when I got in the military. I was much healthier when I was in the military, but I stopped working out when I got out of the military. But I kept my eating habits the same, and that's how I blew up into a 300-pound gargantuan beast. And I've been working for the last 6 years to get down to where I was yesterday, which was 169 pounds. No, was it yesterday? No, it was Tuesday. It was 169 pounds, and I've been down to 164. But compared to where I was on the 21st last year, I was about 45, 48 pounds lighter than where I was last year on the 21st of January. So, I mean, that felt like an accomplishment. So now I can enjoy a few things that I haven't been able to truly enjoy the way I want to. So, hey Jerry, thank you. Merry Christmas Eve to you. This is the roux. I want you guys to see that. That's the thickness of the roux. You don't need it to get any thicker. It's good to see you, Jerry. Thanks for being here. Jerry, you missed it. We had an offer on the table that if somebody, I don't remember how much I told AVA. If he wanted to see me get smacked for being a smart aleck to Mrs. Minnesota, he had to send me a super chat. He didn't do it, so he failed. He is a failure. I'll let him keep his channel mod position, but he's gonna need some remedial training. Good to see you, Jerry. Glad you stopped in. So the roux gives us what will eventually be the cream base. It's roux, roux thickens the broth, and then you use the cream to bring it up to more of a soup consistency, so it's not so pasty. And that's why you season to the future of the soup and not to the station, the static where you're at on the soup. Oh, guys, I wish you could. Oh, wish I could give you a taste of this right now. Even at the broth with the roux in it, it's just absolutely. Yeah, and Mercedes only had 50 cents in her Google account, so she couldn't pay to watch me get smacked. So Jerry sends $1 or $2 to get me hit. You have to smack me. You have to come smack me. You don't have to come on camera. You just have to come smack my shoulder, because one of my subscribers just gave $1.99 super chat.
So now we're encouraging
We're-
spousal violence. Put your frickin' coffee down.
You don't have to hit me that hard. It just has to be a little smack. Ow! That was terrible. I'm kidding. That was a joke. It was a joke. It wasn't terrible. Don't report us. Oh. Because now we're encouraging spousal violence. I mean, it's a fair question. I probably deserve it. Thank you for that, by the way, Jerry. Don't spill the coffee. Yeah, right. Oh, right. Let's take a look at the Brötchen. Let's see. We're almost at 30 minutes of extra rising. They've risen a little bit more. Yeah, almost there. And then we score them once on each side, and then they'll go in the oven. We can take a look at that. Let's check something here. I wish that Mrs. Minnesota was more of a fan of being on stream, because I would love for you guys to watch her make her cheesecake. That's the Brötchen. She, like I said, Jerry, you should see this cheesecake. See how it's started to get that thicker feel to it. That's setting up prime for, as the rice absorbs and softens, that sets up for the prime of the cream. And we use to cream, or the cream that we use is half and half. So, and now for the pesto resistance going into the soup. Now, some people prefer to like go out and get a Chablis of some sort. Oh, Grampy. Wait a minute, Grampy guy. She already smacked me. She's not hitting me again, even for $5. Oh, thanks for supporting the channel, guys. That is awesome. Thank you. Some people will go out and buy like a white Chablis or a Chardonnay to do a soup like this. You can. We don't drink enough wine in this household. My son loves wine, so he buys wine for himself all the time. He's also taken up beer, which was a shock to me. I wasn't expecting. I like good beer, craft beers especially white, or not white, wheat beers, Weizens, German wheat beers. Just an absolute fan. But I use a white cooking wine, and you want to add it at the end, but long enough before you finish the cook that it cooks off the alcohol. So, guys, thanks so much for the super chats. That's amazing. Really appreciate it. And there again, this is all by feel. Once again, you want the taste of the white wine, but you don't want the alcohol to reside to remain in there. You want to cook off the alcohol taste. So you start by tasting You want to be able to taste a hint of the wine when you add it. And the great thing about white cooking wine, this can go capped back into your cabinet. It doesn't need to be refrigerated and will last forever before it goes vinegary. And even if it gets a little bit of a vinegar taste to it, you can use it as a white wine vinegar then. Well, Jerry, if you ever get to the area, if you ever get to my area, you let me know when you're coming this way. Send me an email, and I can show you around to a few of the breweries in the area. So, they all serve IPAs. I'm not a big fan of IPAs. I think they're too hoppy for me. One more little shot, which is how every single bad night out starts, with this one more shot. Can just taste the wine. The reason that I'm doing this today, one, is I wanted to be able to stream it for you guys, but two, now we're free so that we can make chili, which is the second dish that we're serving tomorrow. We will make chili tomorrow. And my son is phenomenal at chili. He does a really good job. And so he's going to come down and join us tomorrow, well before dinner, and he's going to help make the chili. So I think we're going to take a look at what's we're going to take a look at scoring the bread. Ham and yams. Oh, not a big family loves sweet potatoes, but I'm not a big yam or sweet potato guy. Oh yeah, this is. And people are like, "Did you just reuse that spoon to taste it?" Like that's what every chef does at home. What they do in a restaurant is totally different. So. So remember, we're going to need a half cup of hot water, and I'm going to just let that run while I score, because I want this water as hot as possible. I'm going to need that workout this afternoon, I'll tell you that. So they expanded this. So if you just score them.
And then with the convection oven, you know.
Nope, we're not using convection on it.
You're not.
No, not for this. sharpen this knife to score these. There it is. I should have scored them earlier, but this should be fine. Well, for the first time, these are probably not going to be perfect, but I should have scored them earlier when I put them on, but that's okay. It says to do a long, deep score, and then I'm supposed to mist them with water, but I don't have a bottle that I can mist just with water, so I'm going to sprinkle with water. But I'll tell you, this is not, after we got through, and this is Minnesota, corrected my stupidity at the beginning. So I'm just going to sprinkle. Okay. Now I'm going to drop this low. All right. And then set the timer for 18. And then once we get out of, or down to 9 minutes, which the rice is almost exactly where I want it to be to add the cream. Mrs. Minnesota's going to get a taste. You want to see if Sunshine's still open? Grab here. You're getting whatever they serve there. I just can't even imagine. Staying home for Christmas, doing our own thing. Rotisserie chicken, mashed potatoes, and Brussels sprouts. Interesting. I've always wanted to get a rotisserie, but
Hi, what time do you close today? 4:00. Okay, thank you. Thank you. Bye.
I heard. So. I can't even imagine, Grampy Guy, what it's like to be stuck having just some generic menu for that. I had enough of that when I was in the military. I spent 6.5 years as a senior line chef at TGI Fridays and the store steward, and we were always open on Christmas Eve, and I always volunteered to work Christmas Eve because we closed at 6. And one of the things that we would do is we'd bring the boss, the general manager, paid for a big prime rib, and he would work with us throughout the day. He would be there every Christmas Eve, and he would pay for a prime rib, and then the kitchen staff would make a meal. They obviously would cook the prime rib, season it, all that, make sure it was cooked to temp. Which with prime rib, pull it out of the oven at rare and medium rare. And then we would come up with our own menu for staff, and we didn't serve it to the customers. The customers were stuck with whatever was on the menu. And I was always shocked at how busy we were on Christmas Eve, but at the same time not, because everybody's looking for a place to eat as they're out finishing off their Christmas shopping. But yeah, I'll let you guys watch the soup for just a minute. So yeah. So we've got some big things coming up. Got working on scheduling a show for the new season of, I haven't done, I think Saturday I'm doing my season finale of Libertarian Lowdown, and I think it's going to be a solo show. I'm just going to go through and talk about the nature of paleo-libertarianism, libertarianism in the state at the end of the year, kind of do a rundown of some issues to look at from a libertarian mindset. So I'm thinking I'm going to do that Saturday or Sunday. But the new season of Libertarian Lowdown, we're going to be leading in with, not for sure if it's going to be the first episode, but probably the season premiere of Libertarian Lowdown here on the channel is going to be with Dr. Michael Rechtenwald, who I had on a couple of years ago. And I'm going to be clipping out a short from that video where at the end he paid me a really nice compliment. And I reached out to him and asked him if he'd be willing to come on and talk about a new project that he's got going. And he as soon as he saw it, he immediately response was, yeah, sure, reach out to my coordinator. This guy's a busy guy. And if you don't know anything about Michael Rechtenwald, you should look into him and find, just go into the search bar on my channel and type in Rechtenwald, and my interview with him comes up. He ran for president in 2024 as a libertarian, lost in the nomination process. Chase Oliver pulled some shady stuff, and I'm not real happy with how that went, but it exposed Chase. Chase is ruined in the Libertarian Party in the United States now because of the shenanigans that he pulled. And we're going to vent the oven real quick to get out the last of the steam. And there we go. The last of the steam is out, and the Brötchen's almost done, and we're almost ready to add the cream. So, but Dr. Rechtenwald is just an absolute powerhouse intellectually. He was a progressive leftist Marxist, and he left the movement and became a libertarian. And he's independent libertarian now, and he's got a very interesting political action committee that he started that they're using to fight against AIPAC. And they're going to be funding candidates who will sign on to a never again type pledge to not take any money from AIPAC or any AIPAC type association at all. And so he's going to come on, and we're going to talk about that and why he decided to launch that. And then I've got another interview conversation that I'm working on scheduling with a gentleman who was a deputy police chief, or a deputy chief, excuse me, or a chief deputy, one of the two, I can't remember exactly which, who became a whistleblower against his agency for some of their malfeasance, and they pushed him out. And he is full on about talking about his story and exposing the corruption within law enforcement. And I think that, he's a Trump supporter, and I think a lot of people are shocked when they start to see, right of center libertarians or, paleo-conservative, paleo-libertarians, and even, just dyed-in-the-wool Republicans are now coming out more and more and more and talking about why they're no longer supporting law enforcement with that blind loyalty that everybody is so accustomed to. And honestly, law enforcement has grown accustomed to having the blind support of the Republicans, of conservatives, of patriots. And they're learning some hard lessons now. And part and parcel of that is because, body cams have really started to show that there is a lot of malfeasance that goes on out there. And what body cams don't capture, or we don't ever get to see on body cams, a lot of people that aren't even, in that First Amendment auditor camp are really starting to shoot a lot more video when they have interactions with law enforcement. even, you know, kind of your traditional normicon types are like, don't talk to cops and always film police. You're seeing it over and over and over again. I wish it was growing faster. I wish that movement would grow faster. Because I think it'll lead to a massive amount of change and a lot more call for reform. Ozzy Crosby's back. Thanks for coming back, Ozzy Crosby. Appreciate that. But I do think we're going to see a lot more people waking up to that, and the more they wake up to it, the more they're going to demand reform in their local agencies. And with the midterms coming next year, and even with new elections coming, like in my state, Minnesota, next year, for Minnesota House and Minnesota Senate, I've already got some angles on people who are running for office who have a really good chance of winning, that are looking forward to fielding legislation at police reform in Minnesota from a conservative paleo-libertarian perspective, where we're going to go through and we're going to get this legislation at least introduced as best. We're going to fight for that as best as possible, where constitutional training will become an annual requirement for law enforcement in Minnesota. Annual training. You know, by and large, every law enforcement agency in the country has use of force training, sometimes monthly, if not at least 4 times a year, where they're trained on how to use their hands to take people down, and how to handcuff people, and how to, use, a pew and whatnot, how to use a taser. They get that training all the time. They get some mental health intervention training. I was on the front end of critical incident training, and was on the critical incident team for the sheriff's office that I worked for inside of the detention center. When I was on shift, my job was to help respond to and recognize people who are in mental health crisis, whether they were first coming in the door upon arrest, or they were having a mental health crisis after they'd been there for a while. I was in the forefront of that in our agency. It was one of the first deputies trained inside of the detention center for that, and it was great training. It was an eye-opening training for me, actually. And so they get some of that kind of training. They get a little bit of training in de-escalation, but they always fall back to the fact that their badge, their uniform, and their firearms are their tools to get people to comply, instead of learning how to talk. So they get the use of force training. They get a little bit of interpersonal communication training every year, but they don't get nearly enough of what they should be getting. And none of them. Minnesota has no requirement for training on the Constitution or on people's constitutionally enshrined natural rights. And Minnesota, a lot of people think Minnesota doesn't have problems. It has problems. If you've been paying attention to any of the stories, especially like my story about justice for Baby Haven, and justice for Blake, just this year alone, we've got some massive problems with unaccountability in law enforcement. And so, like I said, we're going to have Dr. Michael Rechtenwald in. If not the very first episode, at least the second episode of the season. I'm going to decide how I schedule that. We're going to have this former administrative officer who blew the whistle and how they treated him. We're going to bring him on to talk about his story and introduce you guys to him. And after the first of the year, I'm going to be launching a second part of the playlist of Justice for Blake. We are going to be breaking down reports that we have on Blake and dashcam video. And I'm working with a source to get the totality of video on that and breaking it down in a humane way, so as to not re-traumatize the family. That's my number one concern. I do not want to re-traumatize this family. But the story needs to be public, and it needs to be public in a way that puts pressure on the Minnesota State Patrol to recognize that they've got a monster working for them and he's going to end up unaliving someone because he faced no discipline. He faced no consequences, no repercussions for what he did on April 9th, driving down the road at 120 plus miles an hour at night in the dark when he paralyzed Blake. So we're going to check these rolls real quick. They should have a bit of a hollow feel at the... These are almost done, folks. So we're going to add the cream, or the half and half, to make this a cream. And we're going to add it sparingly because when we reheat tomorrow for dinner, we don't want it to be too loose or too thick. Now, sadly for you guys, you're not going to be able to taste the Brötchen, but I will try it in front of you, fresh out of the oven. I will sacrifice for you. I will sacrifice for you in that regard. So. Kill the oven. There we go. My very first time making bread, and I chose a German Brötchen recipe. They look absolutely freaking amazing. So, for those that have been patiently waiting, I am going to pick one. So, they say you want it to sound hollow. Hear that? Got a nice hollow sound to it. I'm so oh my gosh, they're so crispy on the top. So crispy on the top. I know I sound like a kid in a candy shop right now. This is amazing. I have been waiting for a good Brötchen for over 30 years. I have not had a Brötchen in over 30 years. These are just, I'm so stoked right now. I did not think this was gonna work. I did not think I was going to pull this off. And I wouldn't have if it hadn't been for Mrs. Minnesota coming home and rescuing me from my fiasco. I could not figure out why the dough was not doing what it was supposed to do. Oh my gosh, guys. Oh. You should see how, it's still just a touch too doughy for me, but don't want them to overcook. And they're also a very soft, very moist inside type roll. So we are going to put some butter on this. I'm probably going to put the remaining ones in the oven and finish with the heat off. Oh. Oh, you guys, I wish you could smell these. This is amazing. And when I get done with this, Miss Minnesota is going to come in and take over the kitchen and do her own thing off camera. And I'm going to go to the store and get the ingredients to do her drink that she wants for the night. If I can find everything. So. This is heaven. Absolute heaven. Yeah. I'm gonna go give her a piece. So we have a favorite restaurant that we go to annually on our anniversary. It's called Victoria's Ristorante, and they serve a dinner roll, and I think it's supposed to be like a small version of Italian bread, and we love that. That's one of my cheat days, is our anniversary when we go there, and we've been doing that for, I think we missed 1 year for our anniversary dinner, 1 year for our anniversary dinner, where we chose to go to another restaurant that was managed by a former coworker, actually a former general manager when I was at Fridays, and he bought us dinner and dessert that night at this place. But we go to Victoria's Ristorante, which is Italian, and they serve a dinner roll. This is better, absolutely better. So if you ever want to try this, I will try and remember to put the recipe in the description of this video. So you guys have been here for pretty much the totality after we figured out what was going on with sound, and so not been one of my more popular streams, but I'm actually more excited about this stream than I am with the ones that get dozens and dozens of views. And I hope that everybody has a great Christmas. I hope that you all come back for my end of year Libertarian Lowdown on Saturday. I think I'm going to do it on Saturday. I will try and have it up and running and share it in different places so everybody can see it, know when it's coming. And if you're busy, I totally understand. Thanks for the super chats. Thanks for the views, the shares, the likes, the comments, and for being part of what I've been doing here for so many years now. And I cannot thank you guys enough for sticking around. Not always easy to take. I can get a little fired up at times, so just appreciate having you around and having the support. And I hope that you all have a Merry Christmas, and look forward to seeing more of you and seeing the channel serve you in whatever way is best for whatever you got going on. So, till next time, my friends, Merry Christmas.